Good morning, students. Today I am going to start chapter 5 of class 11 chemistry, that is state of matters. We know here we have three state of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas, but in this chapter we will be discussing about two state of matter, that is gases and liquids. One more state of matter, that is solid, we will have in class 12th, that is detailed explanation of this solid state we will have in class 12th. Okay, so here in this chapter we will be having explanation on gases and liquids only. So before this chapter we have discussed about many of the property of individual atoms and molecules, like their ionization enthalpy, their what a property means, their molecular size, their density, their polarity, means different property we have discussed, but that is the individual property of an atom and molecule. But here in the laboratory, whenever we are talking about any of the things, so these are not the property, means in the laboratory the property of individual atom of or molecules has to be taken. Okay, so in bulk we are talking about the property of all the substance, because if we are talking about a melting point of one molecule, so it doesn't have any importance, because we have to see throughout the substance, throughout the matter. So actually matter is what it is, anything that occupies space and having some mass is called to be as matter, and matter cannot be created nor be destroyed. So here we are going to focus some more properties of these substance, but here we will be talking about all the property in bulk, not for the individual atom or for the molecule. Here we will be talking about the property of each matter. So all the three state of matter, here we are going to all the two state of matter and the properties of these we are going to discuss. So these physical properties actually they depend on the state in which the substance exists, means whether they are present in the solid form or liquid form or in the gaseous form, though their chemical properties are same, because we know that chemical properties depends on the substance from which it is made up of, but not on the appearance of this one. So like if we will be talking about the water can exist in the all the three form. It can exist in the solid form also, gaseous form also, or in the liquid form also. So they are having same chemical property, but they differ with one another on the basis of some of the physical property. Okay, so here we are the most important aspect of this chapter is to discuss about the properties of matter on the basis of some important characteristics property. Okay, so let's have the property. First we will start with the few state of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas. We know many of the matters are there which can exist in all the three form, that it can exist in solid, liquid and gas. So here they can convert from one state to another state on increasing or decreasing the temperature, or on increasing or decreasing the pressure. Here it can change from one state to another state. So the temperature at which all the three phases of the same substance exist together is called to be as triple point. Okay, because at that temperature water can exist in all the three state, in the liquid state also, in the gaseous state also, or in the solid state also. So this state in which it can all the three form can coexist is called to be as triple point. Okay, so here let's have few of the properties. Before that, whenever any of the conversion takes place, means whenever solid get converted into liquid or liquid get converted into solid, so here either absorption or evolution of heat takes place. Like solid can be converted into liquid or liquid into gases by the absorption of heat, because by the absorption of heat only solid get converted into liquid. So and when it come back to its means when liquid get converted into solid, then it release some of the heat. So means whenever the conversion takes place, either they absorb or evolve heat. Okay, so here we will have some of the properties of solid, liquid and gas. Most of these things already you know, but then also we will compare few of the properties. See, molecules in case of solid are closely packed with one another, but whenever we are talking about the liquid, here it has little bit distance between the molecule, because here they are not as much closely packed as in case of solid. But in case of gases they have sufficient distance from one another. Here they are not closely packed. Okay. Second is the intermolecular force of attraction, because in case of solid they are closely packed, so that's why here the intermolecular force of attraction between the molecule is very high. But in case of liquid it is weaker than solid, and in case of gas it is negligible, because here the molecules are present very far from one another. That's why the force of attraction between these is almost negligible. Next, if we will be talking about the density of solid, so density is what? Density is depend on the mass and volume. So as the volume decreases, then the density increases. Okay, so density of solid is very high because of the closely packed structure. Next, density of liquid is lower than that of solid, but much higher than that of gases. But in cases of gases generally have low density, because gases are present very far away from each other. Okay. Next, the position of molecule in the crystal lattice are fixed, and hence solid do not have the translatory or rotatory motion, but only possess vibratory motion. If we will be talking about the movement, here the solid molecule cannot move from one place to another place, because it do not have the space present in between them. So if space is not there, then it cannot move, but they can simply vibrate on its own position. Okay, but in case of liquid, little movement is possible because of the presence of space, and because of the less force of attraction as compared to the solid. But in case of molecule, here in case of gases, here the molecule can move from one place to another place very easily, because of the presence of very large space between the molecule. Okay. Now, in case of solid, molecules of solid possess least energy, and for liquid it has higher energy than that of solid, and gases they are more energetic. Okay, energy is depend on the stability. Okay, because means if solid has less energy, so they are more stable in nature, but gases, because they are having more energy, that's why the stability is also less. They are less stable in nature. Next, we have solid have both definite shape and definite volume, but liquid it has definite volume but it do not have definite shape, but gas neither have definite shape and volume. Next, the most important property of solid, that solid possesses least compressibility and thermal expansion. Solid do not compress, because solid do not have the space. That's why compressibility is not possible in case of solid. And on heating anything, means on giving heat, thermal means heat, on increasing the temperature, solid can expand. Next, we have liquid. Liquid have slightly higher compressibility, means liquid can compress, though liquid can also not be compressed. But if we will be comparing liquid and solid, then liquid can compress uh, slightly more than that of solid. And again, thermal expansion, it also have thermal expansion than that of solid, more thermal expansion than that of solid. Gases possess high compressibility and thermal expansion, means gases, because the molecules are very far away from one another, that's why compressibility is possible in case of gases, and they also show expansion. So these are few of the properties of solid, liquid and gas. One more thing that we have to discuss, that solid they are rigid, liquid are known for its fluidity, and gas also have the ability to flow. Okay, that it can diffuse very easily. So here we can define solid as the state of matter which possesses a definite shape and definite volume. Liquid is defined as the state of matter which has a definite volume but no definite shape. Next, we have gases. It do not have a definite shape, neither volume. These are about solid, liquid and gas. These are the just introduction of the chapter. But here, whatever the thing we have discussed, these all are what here. Most of the thing is depend on the intermolecular force, because solids state is rigid. Solids are rigid and we can touch a solid, has definite shape and definite volume. Why? Because of the great force of attraction between them. So here we are going to discuss about this important property of state of matter which make them to be in that state only. Okay, so before that, here we also know that two more state of matters are there, that is plasma state of matter and Bose-Einstein state of matter, Bose-Einstein condensate. These are the two state of matter. Here, though we do not have much more knowledge about this, or much more explanation of this one is not given, then also we people have to know something about that, that two more state of matter are there, that is called as plasma state, and Bose-Einstein condensate. Okay. So let's start explanation of the chapter from here only. Intermolecular force of attraction. What is intermolecular force of what is actually intermolecular force? So intermolecular force is actually what it is: the force of attraction and repulsion between the interacting particles. These particles may be atoms or molecules. So this term doesn't include the electrostatic force and that exists between two oppositely charged ions, and the force that hold atom of a molecule together, that is covalent bond. Whenever we are talking about the intermolecular force do not relate to the electrostatic or the covalent bond, because the covalent bond, it is the force which is present between the two non-metals, and electrostatic force, it is present between the two ions. But here if we will be talking about the intermolecular force, it is present between either between the two molecules and between the two atoms. Okay. So that's why this force is weaker than that of electrostatic and the covalent force. So here we will be discussing about the intermolecular force of attraction only. Intermolecular force, it may be it is the force of attraction and repulsion, but here in this chapter we will be discussing about the intermolecular force of attraction. Okay. So the forces between the molecule of a substance are known as intermolecular force. Intermolecular force exists in all state of matter and are responsible for the many structural feature and physical properties of matter, isn't it? So the intermolecular force exists within each molecule or polyatomic ion and influence the chemical property of the substance. So intermolecular force, these are weak forces as compared to the electrostatic and the covalent force. So intermolecular force arise due to the type of interaction. These interaction we are having, that is dispersion force or London force. Next we have dipole force, and then we have dipole induced dipole force. Okay, so these all forces are come under the category of van der Waals force. So what do you mean by van der Waals force? So van der Waals force, it is a weak force. Here this is called as van der Waals force by the name of the scientist, because only this scientist have explained about these forces. Okay. So let's have explanation of all these forces one by one. First is the dispersion force or the London force. So dispersion force, these are the interparticle force among the monoatomic or the non-polar molecules. It means this is the force which is present between the monoatomic, means same type of atom should be present, means atoms of the same element has to be present, like hydrogen or oxygen or chlorine and chlorine. It means they should be monoatomic, and this bond should be present between the non-polar molecule which do not have the polarity on that. Non-polar means they are neutral in nature, they do not have any of the charge on that. Okay, so atoms and non-polar molecules are electrically symmetrical and have no dipole moment because their electronic charge cloud is symmetrically distributed, because here it do not have any of the force of attraction. That's why whatever the electron cloud is present, it is present between the bond. Okay, it is not present over any of the atom, because both are same electronegative, both are non-polar in nature, both do not both are means same strength. That's why here the electron cloud is symmetrical and it is present at the center only. Okay, so this type of dispersion force actually here, because it is symmetrical, so however an instantaneous dipole may be developed in such atom and molecules. How does it may be developed? Like one question is asked that if we this non-polar molecule, it do not have any of the force of attraction on that, then how they bind and how they hold one another, how they are exist in the form of molecule, like hydrogen and hydrogen, it combine and form H2, that is hydrogen molecule. So how does it this H2 exist though it do not have any of the interaction on that? Okay, because they both are non-polar, it means they do not have any of the charges on that, they are monoatomic. So how does they hold one another, how they exist in the form of molecule? So here whenever we are talking about this one, look at the structure. With the help of structure you will be able to know. See, like here this is two atom. One atom is called as atom A and another one is atom B. So whenever they rotate, we know that electrons are always in the movement. So whenever these electrons move, what has happened at a time when the electron move, the positive and negative charge of this means it is present at the center and the negative charge is evolving. So at that time, one time comes when the negative charge is attracted towards the positive of B, and negative of B is attracted towards the positive of A, because they are having proton present on the center and they are having electron that is revolving around that. So on revolution, this electron come near to the proton of the other atom, and in case of B, the electron of B, they come near to the proton of A. So because of that, sometime for a very short time, they develop some of the dipole on that. So because of the presence of these dipole, they attract one another. See here, they generate dipole. So because of that, they attract one another, and then because of these attraction only, they hold one another very means efficiently, and that's why we cannot break it very easily. So this type of force, in which actually they are the non-polar molecule, they do not have any of the dipole moment, but on oscillating and on movement, certain or for instantaneous some type of dipole is generated, and because of these dipole they come closer to each other and make a bond. This type of force is called to be as dispersion force or London force. Next we have dipole force. So dipole force is what, uh, here see, dipole interaction exists between molecules that have the permanent dipole. It depends on the following factor, like the distance between two dipole and the orientation of two dipole, like HBr, H2s, HCl. Okay, so these are the dipole means here they should have some of the difference in the strength. Like if we will be talking here, we are taking example like hydrogen chloride or hydrogen bromide. So we know that chlorine is more electronegative than hydrogen. So that's why whenever they are making bond with one another, though they are non-metal, then also because chlorine is more electronegative than hydrogen, that's why the electron cloud is not present at the center and they are not symmetrical, because electron is attracted towards the chlorine, because chlorine is more electronegative. That's why here partial negative charge is going to develop over chlorine and partial positive charge is going to develop over hydrogen. So these are called to be as dipole force when they are having some of the interaction between each other. So this interaction is weak as compared to the ion-ion interaction, because in case of ion and ion interaction, they are having complete positive and complete negative charge, but in case of this they have partial negative and partial positive charge involved. Okay, so the this type of interaction, energy decrease with the increase in the distance. As the distance between these two increases, then the energy and whatever the force of attraction, it will also become decreases, because this interaction or this charges is going to develop because of the electronegative nature of the chlorine. It is not because of the loss or gain of electron, because here they are going to make a covalent bond, and covalent bond is going to form because of the sharing of electron. Here they both share their electron, but due to the formation of partial negative and partial positive charge, they have some of the interaction between each other. So greater the dipole moment of the polar molecule, greater is the magnitude of the dipole force. So this type of force is called to be as dipole force. Okay, so for this dipole force, the condition is that the molecule should be polar in nature. Polar, it doesn't mean that Na or Cl. We are not talking about the metal and non-metal. Here we are talking about non-metal only, but there should be difference in the uh, electronegativity, and they both should be dipole, means the pole of they both should be different. Okay. Next we have dipole induced dipole forces. So this type of attractive force is present between the polar molecule having permanent dipole and the molecule lacking permanent dipole. Okay, like if we are having two molecules, here we are talking about the two molecule. One molecule is having dipole and another molecule is non-polar. See, this is permanent dipole AB. They are polar in nature, and here we have one more molecule which is non-polar in nature. So whenever we are keeping these molecules together, what happen? Because of the presence of this polar molecule have the ability to induce its dipole, or to induce its some of the polarity over the non-polar molecule also. Okay, so this permanent dipole of a polar molecule, it induces dipole on the electrically neutral molecule by deforming its electronic cloud. So an induced dipole is developed in the other molecule. This induced dipole moment depend upon the dipole moment present in the permanent dipole and the polarizability of the electrically neutral molecules. Like here we have hydrogen chloride. Like this AB is taken as hydrogen chloride, and the other non-polar molecule is taken as I2, that is iodine. Okay, so iodine, we know iodine, it is non-polar in nature, so it do not have any of the charge on that. But hydrogen chloride, because they are non-polar, they are not non-polar, they are polar, because of the difference in the electronegativity, it means it is having some of the charge on that. So because the electronegativity of chlorine is that much high, that's why they are having ability to induce its some of the dipole moment into the non-polar molecule also. And because of that, it also, see, this also gets charged for some time only. Okay, not for, it is a very weak type of force, or it is not permanent, it is a temporary force, because they are going to develop charge only when they come in contact with the permanent dipole type of molecule. But when they do not have this type of molecule, it act as only non-polar molecule. So here this non-polar molecule is going to have some of the charge, because of what? Because of the presence of a polar molecule near to it. Okay, so this type of forces in which the attraction or the dipole moment is induced over the non-polar molecule is called to be as dipole induced dipole interaction force. Okay, next we are having what? Next we have hydrogen bond. We know about the hydrogen bond. For hydrogen bond, here certain conditions are there, because hydrogen bond is not formed by all the type of elements. For the formation of hydrogen bond, the condition is that the element which is going to make a bond with the hydrogen, they should be highly electronegative in nature, and the size of this one is also to be small. Okay, that's why fluorine, nitrogen and oxygen only able to make hydrogen bond. But chlorine, though they are also very electronegative in nature, then also chlorine do not form hydrogen bond, because the size of chlorine is bigger. Okay, but whenever we are comparing the size of fluorine, nitrogen and oxygen, it is small, it is having small size, that's why they are having the ability to form hydrogen bond. Oh, so here we have, uh, we can define hydrogen bond as the attractive force between an hydrogen atom and highly electronegative atom is called to be as hydrogen bond. There are certain conditions necessary for the formation of hydrogen bond, that is a hydrogen bond, a hydrogen atom should be attracted to highly electronegative atom, that is fluorine, oxygen and nitrogen. Second, a lone pair must be present on the electronegative atom. Okay, if lone pair is present, then only they can make a bond. And a hydrogen atom represented as like we have HF, and the three atoms usually lie in a straight line, but the angle can deviate as much as 30 degree from linear. Okay, the third condition is that the energy of a hydrogen bond is of the order of 40 kilojoule per mole. So these are the some condition that is needed for the formation of hydrogen bond. So here we have two type of hydrogen bond, that is intermolecular hydrogen bond and intramolecular hydrogen bond. So what do you mean by intermolecular and intramolecular hydrogen bond? That we will here we do not have much more explanation of this one, but then also I will let you know about this one. Intermolecular hydrogen bond means this is a type of bond in which uh, intermolecular hydrogen bond, in which the hydrogen bond is going to form between the two different molecules. Like we have one hydrogen fluoride and another hydrogen fluoride. See here, we have two different molecule of hydrogen fluoride. So here the bond is going to form between the fluorine of molecule A and hydrogen of molecule B. Because fluorine is having more electronegative nature, so it has the ability to attract the hydrogen from other side also. Okay, so the bond which is formed between these, though it is very weak bond, so the bond which is formed between these two molecules is called to be as hydrogen bond. So here intermolecular hydrogen bond, it means when the bond is going to form between two different molecule. Okay, and intramolecular hydrogen bond means when the bond is going to form between the same molecule. It means the same molecule is going to have two electronegative element, like they are having oxygen also, they are having nitrogen also, and hydrogen also. So both nitrogen is also going to attract the hydrogen towards itself, oxygen is also going to attract the electron towards itself, and they both are going to make bond. So this type of bond is called to be as intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Okay, now let's have another topic, that is thermal energy. What do you mean by thermal energy? We know thermal energy is what? Heat energy. So heat energy, it is the energy of a body arising from the motion of its atom or molecule. Whenever any of the body move from one place to another place, they generate some type of energy. Like whenever you people are rubbing your hand, some energy is generated. This energy is called as thermal energy, heat energy, isn't it? So it is directly proportional to the temperature of the substance. As the temperature increases, thermal energy also increases. So thermal energy is the measure of the average kinetic energy of the particle of the matter, and thus responsible for the movement of particle. It is also called as heat energy. We know, if we are talking about thermal energy, so in case of solid, solid cannot move because solid is present in its own position only. Okay, here means molecules of solid, it do not have the space to move about. That's why they simply oscillate in their own position. But here whenever we are comparing the intermolecular force versus thermal interaction, means whether the force of attraction is more, or the thermal interaction while giving heat, whether it dissociate or not. So we know that on increasing the temperature, all the force of attraction is going to break. Okay, so here on means whenever we are giving heat, in case of solid, the molecular interaction is very strong because the molecules are closely packed, but the molecular motion is restricted as they simply oscillate or vibrate in their mean position. So the molecule possesses very low thermal energy and therefore cannot break the force of attraction. But when we heat a solid, whenever we are increasing the temperature, what happens? Thermal energy slowly get increases, and it weaken the intermolecular force, and it can cause to break the bond. And then it start oscillating and vibrate, means then it start moving, and then it get converted from solid state to another state in the liquid state. Okay, in case of liquid, here also it has a little space between them. It means it can move from one place to another place. So a fine balance exists between the attractive force and the thermal energy, so that molecule can break away from one another, and at the same time it get attracted while approaching the other molecule. So further increase in the temperature result in the thermal increase in thermal energy, and again this liquid get converted into gaseous form on increasing the temperature. Means here also it is able to on by taking the energy, it get converted into the kinetic energy, and kinetic energy help them to move very fastly, and on moving it break the bond and it get converted into gaseous form. Next, in case of gaseous state, see, these are the structure. In case of gaseous state, the molecular interaction are very weak. Here it do not have any force of attraction. So the molecule do not cling together like in case of liquid and in solid. Okay, unless the thermal energy of the gas is reduced by lowering the temperature of the gas. So decrease the thermal energy can cause the molecule to come closer, and they gradually develop intermolecular attraction till the gas condense into liquid first, and then it get converted into solid. Because on increasing the temperature, we know here it do not have any of the force of attraction. So if we will be increasing the temperature, the molecule will more molecule can move more fastly. It already they are having far distance, then on increasing the temperature the distance will also become increases, so it can escape out very easily. So here we can decreasing the temperature in case of gases, so gases can get converted into liquid first, because the molecule come closer to one another, and on decreasing the temperature more, the molecules come closer more, as in case of solid, and then finally it get converted into solid state. So these are also called as interconversion of state of matter. So for this interconversion, increase or decrease in temperature, or increase and decrease in pressure is needed for changing the state from one state to another state. Okay, so these are all about the thermal energy and the intermolecular force of attraction, and we also have discussed about the van der Waals forces, that is dipole force, dipole induced force, and dispersion force. These are very weak force, and they are present between the non-metals only. These forces are different from the covalent and the electrostatic force. Then also you people have to know something about these. So tomorrow we will start with the gaseous state, introduction of gaseous state, and there are many theories given about the gases, that is gas law, that we will discuss in the next class. For today we have this much only. Thank you so much students for hearing me.